I think maybe finally, god damn, that did not work how I wanted it to. But starting in 24th this time for real is the 77 of Stingray Rob. Had a crash in qualifying, so he's gonna be at the tail end of the field. 23rd won the last road course race. It's the 95 of Ethan Martz. However, he's gonna be deep in the field today. In 22nd, third in the championship, Robbie Lohr. Yet another disappointing qualifying effort. We're going to have to see if he can make it up, though. But he's going to be at the back of the field. In 21st is the 54 of Mahavir Raghunathan, who's coming off a very good streak on the road courses. I think has scored the 7th most points on the road courses. So a very good run. In 20th is the car that has scored the 3rd most points on the road courses. That's the 47 of Lindsay Brewer. However, she scored the 3rd least amount of points on the ovals, which is why she sits 14th in points. And then you get to the 07 of Catherine Legg down in 19th. A disappointing qualifying effort for her. She's going to be starting deep in the field. And then right in front, the 87 of Alessio Deletta, looking to back up his top 10 at Mid-Ohio on this next road course. In 17th, we have the 12 of Miles Rowe starting pretty far down in the field. Then 16th, Jacob Abel, but he has been known to be able to make up these spots in the race. As now you go to 15th, which is the 99 of Brendan Hubbard, going to be starting in the middle of the pack. He has the 9th most points out of anyone on the road courses. Then you go to the 27 of Yuki Tsunoda, just barely missed out on making it to Q2. Also just barely missing would be the 00 of Glubler Lore. So they're going to be starting in the middle of the pack. Now on to the drivers that made Q2. Benjamin Peterson qualified 12th. Will be the best of his teammates, backing up a 7th at Iowa. And then we have the 33 of Marcus Armstrong, who got a 3rd place at Mid-Ohio, but then finished down in 20th due to circumstances outside his control at Iowa. Then we have the 90 of Guy Gagné, who has been on a very good streak as of lately. He qualified in 10th. And then in 9th will be the 42 of Gail Barnhart, looking to make up some points to stay in the leader's circle. Then 8th, David Malukas in the 25, who is coming off a podium at Iowa. And the car right next to him is a car that beat him to the line for 2nd place. That's the 24 of Chet Jordan, just outside the Fast 6. Then inside the Fast 6, we have the 03 of Dorian Pin for Swindlers of the Immortals, looking to get some good points today. 15th, in 5th is the 18 for 18 Aggressive Bees. It's Callum Ilott, who on the last 3 road courses has finished 2nd every single race. So hoping that today may be his day where he finally breaks through. And then you go to 4th, last race winner, the 64 of Ryan Preece, won at Iowa. He won at Virginia earlier in the season, but it's been pretty feast or famine for the 64. But he went from 8th to 2nd in the points, so he's not out of the championship. 3rd is the number 9 of Connor Zilich, started on pole at Iowa, but spun out on his own, and then finished all the way down in 22nd, almost outside the top 10 in points. But the front row is the 11 of Louis Foster and the 43 of Shane Van Gisbergen, 1st and 5th in the standings. They're looking to get back to status quo. The start will not be single file. We'll throw a yellow this time. 3 laps have been added just to ensure that we get a double file start. Let's take a look at the weather that you'll be seeing for this race. Race takes place mid-July, July 19th at 2 p.m. 10-mile-per-hour wind speeds, 74 degrees, track temp of 99, cloudy, but it still looks like a pretty good day. Here's the race info, 2.68 miles. And you can see the weather, and then last race winner, the 64 of Ryan Preece. So as a reminder, we are not going green this time, even though it says we will. We aren't. But Here is the starting lineup, which will scroll across the top of your screen. So Shane Van Gisbergen won pole and by a pretty solid margin. So you're looking at Shane Van Gisbergen, who's going to start on the hard tires, so he's going to try to go long. You can see the tire that he's running based off the white on his tires, so he's going to be on the hards. Louis Foster right behind him will be on the mediums, and Zilich will be on the softs, so the top three all running different tires, which is going to make for an interesting start to this race. Priest on the softs, Ilott on the mediums, Pin on the mediums, Jordan on the softs, Malukas on the mediums, Barnhart on the softs, Gagne on the softs, Armstrong on the softs, and Peterson on the mediums. So a lot of cars running the soft tires, but we're gonna have to see if that's the way to go. As we said, third in points, Robbie Lohr gonna be starting deep in the field. He's been hanging on, but he hasn't had a good result as of recently. Speaking of not having a good result, the number 9 of Connor Zilich, he has not finished inside the top 10 since, I believe, Milwaukee, which was race 8. We are now at race 12. But he starts in third, but he's going aggressive with the soft tires, so we're going to have to see if that is going to work for today's race. High above, this track sits alone on an island. Kind of street coursey in nature, you could say. As there they go down towards the hairpin. You want a good run out of that turn, because that is going to decide how much speed you have on the straightaway, how much you have to pass someone, how much you have to defend from someone. Then into the Wall of Champions chicane. Called the Wall of Champions because many great drivers over their careers have hit that wall. It's also where pit lane begins. Fast pit entry. Pit exit's also quite interesting because it's actually, if you took it at speed, it'd be faster. One lap to green. Next time by will be the green flag. As for some reason, the 95 is in pit road. Not quite sure. Oh, he, for some reason, has a black flag. So he's just gonna get a quick fill up. Won't affect his position much, because he's at the back of the field. Anyways. So Shane Van Gisbergen on pole for today's race. Looked bad fast in qualifying. Needs a good result to get his season back on track. Hasn't scored a top 10 since Milwaukee either. But luckily for him, that was a win. He's looking for race win number 2 here. Would also be the 6th of his career. Chasing down championship number 2. Same with Ryan Preece, who now shot up to 2nd in points in that bright purple 64 car. Of the 11 of Louis Foster, currently the car to beat in the championship, up by 24 points over the 64 of Ryan Preece. Van Gisbergen dropped down to 5th. Going to be quite an exciting race today. The 07 drop. Okay, never mind. It's just how they do the hairpin on the pace laps. Down the long straightaway. Gonna have to see how clean this start is. They've had a little bit of difficulties starting on these road courses. The Mid-Ohio double file restarts look nice. But we're gonna have to see if they work out now. Typically the outside line that has had some trouble. It's gonna have to see if they are able to get the speed up. Van Gisbergen leads us into the chicane, and he's going to hit the accelerator as we are green for the Grand-Prix of Canada. Connor Zilic already into second. Louis Foster did not get a good jump. Callum Ilott into fourth. They are pretty spread out going into turn 1. Chet Jordan trying to battle with Dorian Pinn, can't get by, as Connor Zilic trying to chase down Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen, one of the few drivers that have driven here before. All the way back in season 1, he finished 3rd. But it was the number 9 team who took home the victory with Logan Sargent. Louis Foster loses a spot at the start. Callum Ilott gets by Ryan Preece. As now they funnel down towards the hairpin. For the first time, Connor Zilic all over the back of Shane Van Gisbergen. And he's going to have a draft. This is the difference between hard and soft tires. But Connor Zilic's tires are going to burn off sooner. Does he have enough to try to get by going into the chicane? Not quite. Shane Van Gisbergen going to defend on the inside. First lap complete here at Montreal, now on to lap 2. Gail Barnhart holding off the number 90 of Guy Gagné, who sits in 10th. It's going to allow Marcus Armstrong to try to close in, maybe make an attempt. But Zilic still follows. Louis Foster not far behind. Shane Van Gisbergen not driving away from them. Just up by 0.3. Now down to 0.2. See if he can get a good exit through this chicane. Zilic is all over the back of Van Gisbergen. He's not going to quite try in the hairpin. He may be waiting on these tires just a little bit. But he's going to get another big run here. Let's see if he's bold enough to take it. 1/10 back as he's going to go for it up the inside. Does he have enough? Yes, he does. Connor Zilic, your new race leader, as Shane Van Gisbergen will drop to 2nd. But Van Gisbergen loses the lead. Foster sits in 3rd still. Ilott 4th, Ryan Preece in 5th. We're going to have to see if Connor Zilic can build a gap. This is what the soft tires are for. See if he takes advantage of them. Most of the field still together. There's a little bit of a gap back here with Mahavir Raghunathan down in 21st. But if you go off track, you're losing a lot of spots here. There's also a gap in the middle of the field with the 29 of Benjamin Peterson. On the medium tires. Top 6 trying to get away. Chet Jordan not too far off. Van Gisbergen not the greatest run out of the corner. You do have a big long draft chain, and that's going to make it difficult for cars 3rd on back to try to pass. Ilott was close to Foster, but just not enough to make a move. As Yuki Tsunoda is going to get by Glubler for 13th. So the double zero drops back to 14th. As Robbie already in pit lane. He is on the hard tires, so not quite sure why he's in. But he's in early. I think he's just trying to get out of that line with the 54. He believes he's faster, but can't quite get by. 6.7 second pit stop. Let's see what tires he's on the soft tires. That is an aggressive strategy. But it looks like he's going to be doing a two-stop. We're on lap number 4 now. Trying to chase down the race lead. Ilott all over the back of Zilich. Or sorry, Foster. He's going to try to make a move but can't get there. The top 7 have kind of broken away. David Malukas lagging back in 8th. That has allowed the top 7 to break away. Gale Barnhart going to try to take a look into turn 1. Can't quite get there, so the 42 going to wait behind. As the 07 gets by the 12 of Miles Rowe, who drops down to 19th. Lost a couple spots on the start and is now falling backwards. Zilich now has an 8/10 lead over Van Gisbergen, but what is he doing with those tires? And could Van Gisbergen catch back up with those hards, which are able to go longer? Zilich, no top 10s since Milwaukee, looking to change course. Right now it looks pretty solid for the number 9 team. Swindlers of the Immortals sits 2nd, 3rd, and 6th. Dorian Pin back here behind Ryan Preece. Ilott not close to Foster this time, like he was last time by. Barnhart trying to look around Malukas, but Malukas going to be defensive into the wall of champion chicane. Barnhart now going to try to go around in turn 1. But Guy Gagné is going to be there, and he might get the position. They're both on the softs. Now Gagné's offline, and that's going to allow Marcus Armstrong to have a chance to go up the inside, but he cannot quite get there. Another gap built after Benjamin Peterson with Yuki Tsunoda behind. Stingray Robb has gotten by Ethan Martz back in 23rd. Robbie currently bringing up the rear, trying to do some fast laps. 1 second lead over Shane Van Gisbergen into the hairpin. Dorian Pin all over the back of Ryan Preece, who's on the back of Callum Ilott. As that is a good exit out of the turn for Preece, but maybe did he accelerate incorrectly, get up the gears wrong, as this is going to be a gaggle. Chet Jordan into 6th. He's going to get by Dorian Pin, and he might get by Ryan Preece here. Big moves by the 24, who's going to go from 7th to 5th. So Chet Jordan, big moves made early in Montreal. But Preece going to try to fight back the long way around. That's going to allow Pin to go side by side, but he's going to hang on here. Ryan Preece drops down to 6th as Chet Jordan moves into the top 5. This has allowed Callum Ilott to get away pretty clearly. He's kind of all by himself now. Jordan and Preece on the softs, Pin on the mediums. 1.5 seconds now between Zilich and Van Gisbergen. Tire differential has not come into play. Right now they're racing at different speeds. As down the straightaway once again, Foster not too far behind. He could make a late lunge, but it would have to be quite bold He's gonna try to look, but Van Gisbergen gonna plant it in the middle of the track. If he gets a good run out of turn 1, he could make an attempt. There you see from high above, he may try to look at the long way around, can't quite get there. So he's gonna hang on back here. Chet Jordan hanging on to 5th as much as he can. Teammate Gale Barnhart sits in 9th. Marcus Armstrong in 11th. Armstrong needs a good run to get in the leader's circle. So as of now, he is currently outside of it. Village looking very calm up in front in that Mobile 1, number 9. Van Gisbergen sits 2nd. Foster sits 3rd. Lucas has a little, trying to build a gap on Barnhart. Barnhart on the softs, so he's not going to be able to go as long. Hanging on to Malukas just fine. So he's going to get a little bit of a run out of the hairpin as Shane Van Gisbergen in pit lane early on the hards. So this strategy may have gone wrong. Down here you see a gaggle. Here's the 42 and the 90 side by side. No positions changed. They're going to stay as they were. 43 of Shane Van Gisbergen in early. Gonna have to see which tires he switches to with 22 laps to go. Gonna go hards to softs as Gale Barnhart has gotten by David Malukas in turn 1, which is switched that order. So now the 42 really trying to push. So Shane Van Gisbergen may have realized the hards weren't quite it. He is on the softs. Has dropped down to 20th, a little bit ahead of Mahavir Raghunathan in 21st. Stingray Rob in 22nd. Robbie still kind of in his own world right now. So that number 30 may be in a little bit of trouble. But 2.5 seconds to Louis Foster. We're going to have to see if he can make up some time. Callum Milot not far behind. He's on the medium tire, so maybe the mediums are the way to go here. As up here, Dorian Pinn chases down Ryan Priest, looking for P5 going into the Wall of Champions chicane. Gonna get to the inside, and she's gonna get the position, but nearly goes offline. Dorian Pinn now into the top 5. Ryan Priest back to 6. Not quite able to get there as David Malukas and Gale Barnhart side by side once again. Barnhart gonna need to go the long way around and can't quite hang on now. Soft tires starting to play in effect as Gagne tried going for it, and that has allowed Marcus Armstrong to pull alongside and get the position. Maybe, yes, he will. So move Armstrong into 9th. He's gotten by Guy Gagne. Shane Van Gisbergen not making any progress as Mahavir Raghunathan is in the middle of the track, and that is going to be a yellow flag for the 54 car. Wall of Champions chicane. I don't know if Raghunathan is a champion, but he has hit the wall. Trying to defend from Stingray Rob. And hops for chicane. Sausage curbs can get you into the air. Clearly that is what happened there. Let's go on board and see if we can see what kind of defense he was trying to do. So down here, Stingray Rob sees him hop the chicane and boom, into the wall. Luckily for the 77, he doesn't get stuck behind. Run into the back of him, but now Connor Zilich's advantage goes away, and this is good for Shane Van Gisbergen. If he stays out here, he can make up a ton of spots. So, Mahavir Raghunathan's top 10 streak on the road courses has gone away. He is going to be the first car out of the race. "20 laps to go, 10 laps in, we're gonna have to see who does what here. I wouldn't be surprised if Van Gisbergen or Robbie do have to pit again, which in that case, that devastates their race. Gonna have to see what the 43 does here, but I think if you just go on the mediums, you might have enough to make it to the end. Let's see what the number 9 does here. Will anyone pit? Zilic is gonna stay out. Everybody is staying out, which doesn't help Van Gisbergen. Alessio Deletta gonna be the first one to enter pit road. Van Gisbergen gonna stay out, but he's only gonna make up a couple spots. Deletta leads the cars at pit. Robbie is gonna have to pit again, so that's gonna hurt his race and really gonna hurt him in the championship. So let's see who wins the race off pit road. Miles Rowe gets a good stop, but it's gonna be Deletta who leads him off. A lot of good stops there. So Deletta was listening to me and went mediums. A lot of cars going softs. Robbie will go mediums. So Connor Zilic, we're going to have to see what kind of defense he will be able to put up here, if he is able to put up a defense. So the number 9 leads for Viking Racing. His teammates Guy Gagné sits just inside the top 10 in 10th. Brendan Hubbard in 15th. Gonna have to see if the cars at pit gonna have an advantage here. The 87 of Alessio Deletta leads them. So Zilic on the soft tires, gonna stay out. Has a lot of faith in these tires. But right now, he's been looking pretty solid on them. I believe next time by will be the 1 to green. And we'll go back racing with 17 laps to go. So a little shy of halfway. So, lights on the pace car are out. We are going green this time, as it's going to be a double file restart. We're going to have to see if Silic's soft tires hold up. Gonna have to see if he gets a big jump on the field. Tries to pull away. the 18 and the 11 on medium tires, Chet Jordan on the softs. Priest is on the softs, Pin on the medium, so that's your front 3 rows. Van Gisbergen all the way back in 15th, first of the cars out of pit. We're going to have to see if this works out for him. He's going to be on the soft tires, so he's going to have to go pretty long. And pray to whatever deity can carry that to the end. He did make his tires go pretty long at Suzuka, but so did Foster. That gave Louis Foster the win. Pretty convincing win, too. Gonna go down the long straightaway. Let's see if both lanes can get it fired up correctly. Gonna have to see what the 9 and the 11 do. Gonna be an interesting fight to the end. This race not over. So all it takes is one interestingly timed yellow flag to bring everything back. Mahavira Gunathan out of the race, so we're down to 23 cars. Connor Zilic, let's see if he can get a jump on the field. As he's going to go, not as big of a start as Van Gisbergen earlier. Louis Foster, he's going to try to hang on to second. As Eilot going to slide into third, Jordan fourth, Pin fifth. Van Gisbergen trying to make up spots back here. Gets by the 99 of Brennan Hubbard. As he's trying to push forward. He's up to 15th now. As everyone tries to file through. Louis Foster all over the back of Connor Zilic. If Foster can win today, his championship his championship season would be pretty good. As the top 3 all on top of each other. With the number 9 gonna try to pull away, but he can't. Only 2 tenths above Foster. As they go down the straightaway, the 11, he's gonna try to go for it. But Zilic gonna plant it in the middle of the track, and he's gonna try to make it as difficult as possible to get by. The 11, not quite there. Top 3 all on top of each other. Jordan trying to hang on to the softs. Pin was able to get by Priest on the start just by being on the mediums. Gonna have to see if she can get by him. But at the front, it's the top 3. Eilot looking for another, at minimum, second place, but would love to get a win. But Foster's going to be right on Zilic. He's going to have to be bold here. Zilic, very aggressive driver. They battled for the win at Iowa, and that's what Zilic spun out for. As David Malukas just got 2 cars in 1. He got Pin and Priest. As he's going up to 5th, did very much what Chet Jordan did earlier. Gale Barnhart now right behind Priest. Priest is going backwards, not doing well on these soft tires. He's been very aggressive this season to his own detriment. It's Benjamin Peterson in the top 10. He sits 10th. Gagne has fallen back to 12th, not hanging on well to the soft tires. still the 11 follows very closely. This is the view from the 18. They've pulled nearly 2 seconds on 4th place. Shane Van Gisbergen not moving forward. He still sits back in 15th. Foster's gonna be on him again, but Ilott gonna be on Foster. So this could be a gaggle going down into the wall of champion chicane. Foster looking for the long way, but here comes Callum Ilott up the inside. Who's going to get the position? And it's going to be the 18 of Callum Ilott. Not a very good exit. He is going to get away. Callum Ilott once again in 2nd place. Has by far scored the most points on the road courses this season. And he is looking good. As here goes Gale Barnhart around the outside of Ryan Priest. As he's going to move into 7th. Priest going backwards, struggling on the tires. As Shane Van Gisbergen, the first car out of those who have pit, he's currently 9 seconds behind the leaders. And he hopes that gap stays small. But with Zilich leading, that's probably not helping these guys. Those soft tires are pretty shot. The 18's gonna have to be aggressive here if he wants to try to get around. Looking around the outside, not quite able to get there. 18 aggressive Bs, still no wins, no poles. But this is a good opportunity for the team here. The Foster is right there and will try to take the spot back if he can. He's not going to go for it this time. But Zilich very aggressive on the defense. Making it very hard for the 18 to get by, but the 18 of Callum Ilott looking for the lead around the outside into turn 1, and he's going to get it and make it look easy. So new leader Connor Zilich already down by a second as David Malukas has gotten by Chet Jordan for 4. Jordan struggling on the soft tires. David Malukas in a very good spot right now. 2 seconds has already been pulled on the 18 to the 9. Louis Foster has not been able to get by, and he is back in 2nd. David Malukas is absolutely flying. He's in 4th. As Armstrong has gotten by Priest for 8th. So a lot of the tire differentials making the passing kick up now. As 4 seconds have already been pulled out by the 18 on the 9. I would not be surprised if the 18 gets the fastest lap on this lap. Could it be the first win for Callum Ilott? As here goes David Malukas looking for 3rd. And he's going to get it. That 25 is flying as the 42 of Gale Barnhart. First car to bail for the pits out of the cars that stayed out. Priest has fallen down to 10th, and he's going to get passed again. As that 64 barely holding on, and that is what cost him at Detroit. As 6 seconds already. Soft tires are not holding up, so the cars that bailed early could get a jump, but they're going to be behind all the cars that have already pit. So we're going to have to see if those guys can even make it. Zilich down by 8 seconds in the span of half a lap. I don't know how that's even possible. Right now, Zilich has the best lap at a 1:16.12. We're going to have to see if the 18 will beat it this time. David Malukas now lined up behind Zilich, and he has been flying. As here goes Malukas for 2nd place up the inside, but Zilich is going to bail for pit road and catch Malukas off guard. Armstrong going to follow. Gonna have to see where the 9 comes out in terms of the 42, who's on the mediums. He's gonna make it home. All of these guys should be able to make it home pretty safely. Zilich in pit road. Van Gisbergen now into the top 10. He's gotten by Ryan Preece, 6.5 seconds. Eilot has not pit. Van Gisbergen back by 19 seconds. So the gap stays open for Eilot to try to escape. He's on the mediums, but has not pit. So the 42 is not going to beat the number 9. They're behind a bunch of slower cars. This looks like a conga line back here. As Callum Eilot's going to bail now and try to cover. Let's see if this is the right way. He's going to try to jump the conga line that is currently led by Ryan Preece, who is struggling bad. As here goes Peterson trying to make a move, but Jordan going to dive into pit lane. Callum Eilot, let's see if this stop is good. As it's going to be a 6.4 second pit stop, and he is going to jump everyone else, but Van Gisbergen gonna be out in front of him, so it looks like it's gonna be between Callum Eilot and Van Gisbergen for the win at this point. Lucas leads over Foster by 0.2 seconds. Chet Jordan gonna leave pit road, but who is he going to be able to beat out? Preece is still staying out, and he is losing tons of time. Jordan's gonna exit pit lane now, and he is going to jump the big conga line, so he's going to stay ahead, but Zilich has lost another spot, as this is a traffic jam behind the 64. Oh man, this is absolute chaos. Everyone trying to go for anything they can. The 9 really trying to cut his way through this. This is a hornet's nest. But everyone that has stayed out so far might be able to jump it if they get away. Foster right behind Malukas. Malukas going to stay out. Foster comes in. We're going to have to see where he comes out in terms of the 18, who is latched on to the tail end of this group. As the 25 of David Malukas is backwards. He could not make it. He spins out. And will this trigger a yellow flag? Everyone going to sneak by on the inside. As Malukas, he's going to get back going, but he's going to lose time. And that could put him back in the Hornet's Nest when he does pit. Malukas is very slow coming around. He must have hit something. Or it's just... Oh, and he's in the barrier now. Preece finally bails and pits. But that 25 limping around. He is in big trouble, as the 03 of Dorian Pin might have had a little bit of an issue. She is struggling. Peterson is slow. That 29 has had an issue. For some reason, Yuki Tsunoda now your race leader. All of these cars struggling to make it around. Their tires are shot. They tried making it go as long as possible, but they cannot make it, or are they out of fuel? Which could be possible. Are any of them making it around? Malukas is stopped, and that is going to be a yellow. So yellow flag. David Malukas runs out of maybe fuel, as a lot of the cars that had stayed out to this point can't get back. Jacob Abel is stopped. Yuki Tsunoda is stopped. Peterson is stopped. Absolute chaos. Abel could not make it around. Malukas, who is running so well, gonna have another result deep in the field. Ryan Preece was really struggling. He's gonna be at the tail end of the field. See if we can see how Malukas spun. And if he did hit anything, which may answer if everyone else had same issue, or so he's fine here, and he's gonna loop it here, sends it too deep, and he's gonna spin it. But does he hit anything, or was it just fuel? I think it was just fuel. Tried going too long, and something was wrong. That is going to lead Van Gisbergen on the lead, but on used soft tires. I believe Catherine Legg, first car that hasn't pit yet, so she's going to go to the back of the field. Actually, no, she has pit. She must have pit earlier with Alessio Deletta. She is on... Can't see what kind of tires she is on. He's on the softs. Deletta's on the medium, so he could be in for a good result. Rowe on the softs, Stingray on the softs, Brewer on the softs. So we don't know if those guys are going to be able to make it. They're going to have to do about the same length that everyone that just had to stop did. Make it to the end. Abel back in pit road, so it may have just been a fuel issue. If he gets out now, he will stay on the lead lap, I believe. That's the good thing with making it as far as you can to pit road. So Abel will rejoin. Priest gonna top off. We're only gonna have about 4 laps to decide this. Callum Ilott once again finds himself in second. Gonna really need to push to be able to make it. Dorian Pin, Yuki Tsunoda, they're gonna come back out, but they will be 1 lap down. Peterson, he's come out, he's gonna be a lap down. Malukas was the one that made it the least amount of distance, so he got the least, well, he's gonna have the biggest toe. So he may be 2 laps down when he finally comes out. But only 18 remain on the lead lap, as Malukas now in pit road. Just way too aggressive on the strategy. Gonna be a double file restart late in this race. We're gonna have to see if Van Gisbergen can hold on to 15 lap old. By the end of this race, it's gonna be 22 lap old. Not impossible, but it's gonna be quite difficult on the soft tires. And this looks good for Callum Ilott, and a very good points day possible for the 11 of Louis Foster. And just some good results for some of these guys. Alessio Deletta, looking at a good result. Miles Rowe, Stingray Robb, Lindsey Brewer. Lindsey Brewer has been pretty good on the road courses and has been notoriously good at the strategy calls. This could be another one today. But still a lot to play for. Catherine Legg sits in 4th. Currently going for Rookie of the Year. Currently leads Rookie of the Year by 3 points over the 9 of Connor Zilic, who sits back in 9th, who just got stuck in the absolute swarm where Ryan Preece was holding up the field. He's going to be all the way down in 18th. Gonna have to see if he can push forward. He's pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised if he can cut through some of these guys. But he fell back. Zilic kind of got hosed. Gagne, Armstrong, Glubler, they had good runs going, but are now deep in the field. As no, this looks like it's going to be a single file restart. I guess we only get one single file restart. Back in the 2011 days, it feels like. But Van Gisbergen gonna need to hold on for 5 laps over V18 of Callum Ilott. Ilott's been in these situations where he's needed to fight for it at the end. Can today be the day where 18 Aggressive Bees finally pushes through and Callum Ilott gets career win number 6? Van Gisbergen and Ilott both looking for career win number 6. Foster looking for number 3. Legg looking for number 2. Jordan looking for number 3. The furthest back you could get for a first-time winner is Miles Rowe back in 7th. But he's going to be on some old tires, so I don't think he's going to be able to get anywhere with those. As let's get ready to go. Down the back straightaway, Van Gisbergen got a good start on pole earlier this race. Can he get the good jump now on those used soft tires? He's going to need to fight like hell. Teammate Louis Foster in 3rd, the championship rival. Green flag, he gets a pretty solid jump off Callum Ilott as they all go down towards turn 1. Will anyone be able to make a dive? No, not quite. They're going to funnel through the first 2 turns. Ilott hanging on to 2nd, but Foster's all over the back of them. Van Gisbergen actually kind of pulling away on the soft tires, half a second on Ilott. Ilott might be on a little bit of colder tires maybe, but he's kind of there now. Gonna have to see how aggressive Van Gisbergen goes into the wall of Champion Chicane, which has been the premier passing point. Turn 1 has also been quite used when trying to go for the lead. Here comes Callum Ilott going down the straightaway. There's a first win of the season on the line for the 18. First win for the team. 1/10 back. Van Gisbergen defending hard. Here comes Foster. Foster up the inside. And the 11 of Louis Foster is going to get into 2nd with 4 laps to go. Does he have anything to chase down his teammate? Foster could get a huge jump in points if he wins today. But Van Gisbergen looking for his 2nd of the season. It seems like he can make it to the end, but he is pushing very hard right now. But he has a 1.1 second advantage over Louis Foster. Callum Ilott drops to 3rd. Catherine Legg holding on to 4th. Chet Jordan in 5th. Deletta in 6th. Miles Rowe has cut his way up to 7th. Sorry, Connor Zilich has cut his way up to 7th. He's trying to push hard, but Van Gisbergen leads by a 2nd. Windlers of the Immortals sit 1-2. Dorian Pinn down in 21st after having the fuel issue. Six-tenths, he's closing in. Callum Ilott still going to be there, as Chet Jordan going to get Catherine Legg around the outside for 4th. Jet Jordan having a good run today, currently the top of his teammates, looking to break into the top 10 in points. Foster back by 4 tenths, now 3 tenths. He's going to be on him, and we have 3 laps to go. He's going to be able to make a move going into the Wall of Champions chicane, but he better not leave the door open for the 18 of Kalamilot, who is not out of this yet. Two attempts. Gonna have to see if he can make a move. Could be a battle for the championship, a championship move. 7 tenths. Here comes Kalamilot. He's gonna try to dive up the inside. Not quite close enough. But will Foster have anything to say about it going into turn 1? He's going to be on the back of him. He's going to try to go the long way around, but not able to get there. Ilott was able to make the long way work earlier. Two laps to go. These top 3 all right on top of each other after nearly 30 laps of racing. And it's going to come down to who can make the biggest lunges and who can be the last of the late breakers. Jet Jordan arriving on the scene in 4th place. He's not out of it. As here we go down the straightaway. Van Gisbergen going to be defensive with his line again. We have seen it's possible to go the long way around, but here comes Kalamilot once again, and he's going to be able to get side by side, but not able to get the position. White flag for Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen didn't look to be a factor, but with a well-timed yellow flag, he is back into this race. But Foster's going to be right on him. This race is far from over. The top 4 all linked up back to back. Someone makes a move going down towards the Wall of Champions, other people are going to follow. It's all going to depend on the car in front of you. How late do they go? How late do you go? Do you risk plowing into the back of them? Foster down by just a tenth. Here he goes, looking at the outside. Kalamilot looking at the inside. Kalamilot's trying to get 2 in 1. He's going to get Foster, but it's going to be Shane Van Gisbergen who's going to hang on and win at Montreal. A thrilling fight to the end. Kalamilot going to come up short in 2nd, but with a good move on Foster, will let him jump ahead. Chet Jordan going to finish in 4th, and Catherine Legg will round out the top 5 after she's able to get the strategy right. That was an incredible race. Unofficial results scrolling across the top. A bold move by Kalamilot will leave him 2nd once again. But Shane Van Gisbergen finally gets a win on a road course in quite a long time. The Van Gisbergen, your race winner, will take his second of the season, sixth of his career in an amazing race. Take a look at your final results. Shane Van Gisbergen, your race winner. He wins by a second, but boy, it did not feel like that. Callum Ilott will finish in second, once again on a road course. Louis Foster, he'll grow his championship lead. He'll finish third. Chet Jordan going to break into the top 10 in points with a fourth place finish. Catherine Legg will finish fifth to increase her Rookie of the Year lead. Alessio Deletta has his best finish of the season in sixth, as Connor Zilic will finish seventh after what looked to be a strong run. Just ended up behind some slow cars and could not cut through. Miles Rowe will finish in eighth. Strong result for him. Stingray Robb will finish in ninth. And Lindsey Brewer, been pretty good with the strategy on these road courses, will finish in 10th. Gail Barnhart will just miss out on the top 10. He'll finish in 11th, with Robbie Lohr finishing 12th. Guy Gagne will finish in 13th, with Marcus Armstrong down in 14th, and Glover Lohr down in 15th. Brennan Hubbard will be in 16th, with the Team Eggs cars. Ryan Preece, a disappointing 17th, really struggled on the tires there. Jacob Abel in 18th, and then Ethan Martz, your last car on the lead lap, once again in 19th. So these are the cars that finished laps down. David Malukas was the best of them, finished 20th, but that is a disappointing result for him. He was contending for a podium. Yuki Tsunoda 21st, Dorian Pin 22nd, Benjamin Peterson 23rd, and then Mahavir Raghunathan, your only true DNF, down in 24th with an early collision in the Wall of Champions. So a very fantastic race here at Montreal. Leaves us with 8 races left in the championship, 4 road courses, 4 ovals. The next race, we go to kind of a hybrid, but definitely more on the road course side. Watkins Glen, but without the bus stop and without the boot. It's going to be very fast, pack racing on a road course. It was incredible the last time we did it back in season 2. And it's going to be incredible once again. And I really hope to see you guys there. Qualifying on next Tuesday. It's going to be a great race. This championship far from over. I hope to see you guys then.